Okay. Okay. A very good afternoon to everyone, to Nixon, Tony, and Antonia. I do apologize about the numbers today. We did have initially, we had 44 people registered to jump on board. Hi, Simon. Hi, Stanley. Thank you for joining us. So welcome to the fourth webinar in the series of the Development Impact Conversations. We're all World Vision people, but just because we're going to have this on our YouTube podcast page, my name is Rosalia. I lead the communications function here at World Vision PNG. And today we're going to be focusing on M&A systems and functions. And very thankful to Antonia Salamat from World Vision Philippines. Is it, Antonia?
Yes.
Wonderful. So just housekeeping rules. What will happen is we'll leave the questions and answers until the very end, where I'll put everybody's mic on, and you can ask questions then. If not, feel free to pop it in the Q&A, and Antonia can respond to you as she goes through her presentation. So I'm going to hand it over to Antonia, and she will introduce herself, and then we'll go from there. Thank you so much, Antonia.
Let me put on my camera first, just for the introduction. Thank you, Rosalia, and good afternoon, everyone. I would like to first thank the organizing team led by World Vision in PNG, through Clement and Rosalia, for inviting me to be part of this development impact conversation. It is very encouraging to be part of this community of practice and be with like-minded partners in this setting. So I am Antonia Salamat, as Rosalie has mentioned earlier, and I'm currently World Vision International's South Asia and the Pacific's Regional Monitoring, Evaluation, Accountability, and Learning Advisor. In short, the meal, not the food one. So I have been with World Vision for quite a long time, but do not ask me on how many years, as it will be telling of how old I am. So in my years of experience, I had the opportunity of having held roles in both operations and program quality. I have been assigned in both developing and fragile contexts, doing development and emergency response programming, including managing grants before my current role. So I do have field experience in designing, monitoring, and evaluating programs. And hopefully, for today's conversation, I can contribute with my practical experience in the M&E processes. So I am an agriculture business manager by profession, and so I am naturally biased to sustainable, nutrition sensitive, and climate adaptive agriculture and micro-enterprise development programming. So my enterprising nature provided a balance in my practice of humanitarian development by working towards sustainability of outcomes, always looking at impact as the bottom lines when designing and implementing quality programs. So with that introduction, I will turn off my camera now and pull up my presentation and project it so we can start. Let me turn this off. And okay, so let me share my screen. Okay. Sure. Can you see my screen now? Let me just project it in the presentation mode.
Yes, we can see a screen.
Aha. Is it in the presentation mode? Not yet. Okay.
Not yet.
All right. Okay. So I also would want to acknowledge that everyone here is an expert in our own right and have experience to contribute to the discussion. So I'll be relying on the participants as well to share their knowledge. And having said that, I would like to highlight this impact conversation mindset of mutual learning, where we foster an environment of peer learning, where everyone contributes to and benefits from shared knowledge and experiences. As this is a conversation, I also want to learn from you all to also enrich my knowledge and understanding. I also would like to emphasize that this is a safe space. Our community of practice values an open dialogue, respectful communication, and a non-judgmental atmosphere, encouraging everyone to express themselves freely without fear or criticism. And of course, everyone has knowledge to share, recognizing that expertise varies. We embrace the idea that not everyone is an expert in every aspect. However, we believe that everyone has valuable knowledge to share. Each individual brings a unique perspective, and we encourage the exchange of diverse insights for collecting, learning, and improvement. So, let's proceed to our objectives for today, which includes creating a comprehensive M&E framework, functional M&E systems in humanitarian organizations, developing company procedures for M&E, analyzing collected data for informed decision-making. So for our first topic on creating a comprehensive M&E framework, why do you think organizations need to do this? So we have like few participants, right? Can you just like cite reasons and type them in the chat box? Let us see why M&E is important. And since I'm projecting my screen, I cannot see chats. Maybe Rosalia, you can read them as they come. Can we just checking if the others on the line are there? So please don't be shy.
You could probably put it in the chat, or if that is, my apologies, if that's locked, then you can pop it in the Q&A. That might work a bit better.
All right. Yeah, maybe later then. So let me just proceed. First, let's level up our understanding of what is a framework, because we'll be discussing creating a comprehensive M&E framework. So it says here, a framework is a structure that you can build on. It serves as a foundation. So you're not starting entirely from scratch. Frameworks are typically associated with a specific goal and the essential elements to achieve that goal. So there are two main objectives why organizations create M&E framework. So one is for assessing the performance, impact, and effectiveness of projects and programs in delivering organizational goals. And second is a well-designed M&E framework helps in collecting, analyzing, and using data to make informed decisions, improve outcomes, and be accountable to stakeholders. So these are actually our basis for creating a comprehensive M&E framework. So it was mentioned there that the first element for a comprehensive M&E framework is the organizational goal. So imagine an organization embarking on a journey towards a distant destination, which is the organizational goal. So that's the framework. The goal serves as the ultimate endpoint. I cannot point that one. It is the reason that propels the organization forward. So we need to undertake this journey. The organization requires a sturdy and efficient vehicle we call the organizational strategy. So this strategy acts as the car that not only fuels the journey, but also navigates the twists and turns along the way, ensuring the organization stays on course and delivers the necessary programs that delivers the organizational goal. So that's our second element, is the organization strategy. Now envision the route to the organizational goal as a complex network of roads and pathways. There are so many ways to implement a program or project. So to ensure that the car is going in the right direction, there is a need for a functional monitoring and evaluation system that supports successful strategy execution. So this functional monitoring and evaluation system is designed to pave the way towards the intended destination. So the M&E system acts as the infrastructure, the foundation upon which the organization's journey rests. It provides the necessary insights, indicators, and checkpoints to gauge progress, much like road signs and signals guiding a traveler on the route. However, a well-designed road alone is not sufficient. So the M&E framework requires three building blocks. First is the programming that must be linked with the organizational strategy. So these are the program-specific plans and targets that needs to align with the broader strategy to ensure that programs contribute to the organization's overall strategy and goals. Second is the standardized M&E system that should be in place. This ensures that the measurements are uniform throughout the organization's journey. It's akin to having standardized road signs and traffic rules, providing a common language to everyone involved in the journey. This consistency facilitates internal coherence and allows external stakeholders to understand and assess the organization's progress. And finally, consider organizational capacity on M&E. So this is actually the fuel that powers the entire vehicle. An organization must not only have a reliable car or the strategy, a well-built road, that is the M&E system, but carefully placed milestones as well as building blocks, but also the capacity to constantly monitor, evaluate, and adapt its approaches. So this capacity is the engine that propels the car. So the energy that keeps the journey sustainable. So this involves having skilled personnel, robust technology, and a culture that values learning and improvement. So when we say programming that is linked with strategy, it is crucial that programs' key performance indicators should align with the organization's strategy, key performance indicators. So that is really needed. So the strategy KPIs, these are the metrics that measure the overall performance of an organization in achieving its long-term goals and objectives, while program KPIs are the metrics used to evaluate the performance of a specific program. So when we implement an organizational goal, we might be involving different projects and programs to ensure that we achieve that goal. So as mentioned earlier, alignment of program KPIs to the strategy KPIs ensure that programs contribute to the organization's overarching goal. So on the standardized M&E system, this means standardized tools for outcome and monitoring indicators, business process, and data management system across programs for consistency to facilitate common understanding of M&E processes. This also include development of a set of standardized indicators that can be applied across different programs, projects to allow for aggregation of data at the organizational level and common reporting format to ensure consistency in how M&E results are communicated to simplify the process of synthesizing information for organizational decision making. So on the organizational capacity on M&E, this is basically the leadership support to prioritize and invest in organizational M&E capacity, which includes intentional staff capacity buildup that is crucial in fostering a culture that values monitoring as a strategic function. This also includes management consideration, establishing M&E structure to focus on building expertise and providing support across various programs, and foster a culture of continuous learning where staff are encouraged to seek ongoing professional development in M&E. And finally, providing the appropriate resources to support the M&E system implementation. So in essence, so this is our comprehensive M&E framework, which is an intricate interplay between the organizational goal, the strategy, the M&E system, the programming, the standardized processes, and the organizational capacity that illustrates an organizational journey into a tangible, measurable, and adaptive process, ensuring that the organization not only reaches its intended destination, but does it with resilience, learning, and continuous improvement. So that segues to our next topic, which is a functional M&E system in humanitarian organization. Which plays a critical role in ensuring that assistance reaches those in need efficiently and that the impact of interventions is maximized. So this is the M&E function that supports successful strategy execution, as mentioned earlier, an essential component of effective program management. So these systems not only improve program quality, but also enhance transparency and accountability, which are essential principles in humanitarian work. So at this juncture, this is the picture of a functional M&E system that looks at 12 key components. So, yep, if we can count, so there are like 3 layers, 3 categories that are focused on. The first one is the enabling environment, which are the 7 outer yellow cards that include the structure, the staff capacity, M&E partnerships, organizational M&E work plan, M&E plan for each project, and then the M&E database and the organizational culture for M&E. So these are the enabling environment that includes the human resources, partnerships, and planning required to support data collection. That is the second layer in light pink cards, which are the 4 mechanisms or procedures through which data are collected, verified, and analyzed. So these include baseline and evaluation, routine monitoring, outcome monitoring, and data audit and validation visits. So to support the primary purpose of the M&E system, that is data for decision-making and the sharing to other stakeholders. So that's the data use and dissemination as the essence of why we have a functional M&E system in humanitarian organizations. So let us discuss each component and start with the structure, organizational structure for M&E that looks at the 5 areas. The M&E unit is the unit responsible for planning, implementing, and managing all M&E activities. So the M&E structure is dependent on the size of the organization, so the nature of its activities, and the complexity of the M&E requirements. So some organizations may have more specialized roles or fewer layers, depending on their specific needs. What is important is that the unit must have adequate manpower to manage M&E deliverables. So regardless of the size of the structure, effective communication and collaboration between M&E teams and other departments are essential for successful implementation. On the second one, the roles that include M&E, so there's an example there. This could be like managers or program managers or project managers, technical specialists, development officers, and the DME staff. They should have job descriptions that clearly define M&E responsibilities, including the knowledge, skills, and experience that are required, because there is a misconception that M&E is the sole responsibility of PQ and DME staffs only. So articulating M&E responsibilities in the JD is really very important. Otherwise, some staff will say, oh, it's not expected of me. So just to check that that is not happening, because we know that M&E is a collaborative effort that involves the entire organization, as what we have shown in our M&E system and even the framework. DME functions need to be coordinated also at the organizational level. So this is just to ensure that there is resource optimization, there is cross-project learning, and strategic alignment. And senior DME staff representation at the national level also ensures faster decision-making, alignment with organizational culture, accountability, and of course, the oversight for the M&E implementation. And fifth one is mechanisms in place to engage partners in all phases of DME. This is a gold standard, engaging partners throughout all phases of the, not just like monitoring and evaluation, but starting from design process is essential for fostering collaboration, obtaining diverse perspectives, and ensuring the success of initiatives. We all know that participatory development processes support ownership and sustainability. Thus, organizations use this approach when implementing M&E. So the next component is the staff capacity for M&E systems, which has 6 elements: learning and growth, performance management, resources for capacity building, recruitment, DME, capacity building for partners, and capacity building monitoring. So let's talk about the learning and growth, which is about staff capacity building. This is to enhance M&E effectiveness, such that adaptation to evolving M&E practices, quality data collection and analysis, effective use of technology, improved data interpretation and reporting, and so on and so forth. So continuous development ensures that staff members are equipped to navigate the dynamic landscape of M&E, to contribute effectively to organizational goals and drive positive outcomes. So this is really a critical component when we say staff capacity. Second is the performance management. This just refers to staff's clear performance and learning development plans that is or should be regularly monitored and supported. So it is important that staff's plans are aligned to deliver the project and organization's M&E work plan. Third is the resources for capacity building. These are just the allocated resources for DME capacity building. So when we say staff capacity, organizations need to invest on this one. On recruitment, this is actually a crucial part of building the organization's M&E capacity, getting the right people to the right position. So just highlighting that recruitment as much as possible is competency-based, following a clear job description that articulates the M&E responsibility. So we have been like repeating this information. And DME capacity building for partners. So this is for organizations working with or through partners. I'm not sure if there are some here that is working, for example, with consortium or with people's organization. But in cases like this, it is important that partners are also equipped to deliver the partnership expectations. And lastly, the capacity building monitoring simply means tracking the capacity building implementation. So at the start of the year, you have your capacity building plan. So it is ideal for organizations to maintain a database of staffs receiving DME training, as these staffs can also train other staffs as part of their deliverable. So this is kind of a return on investment when the organization is investing on staff capacity. Staff needs to, like, train others as well and transfer those knowledge and capacity. And next is the M&A partnership, which involves collaborating with both.
Hi, Antonia. Sorry, we can't hear you. Are you still there? Hi, Antonia. Um, Apologies, though. Antonia did say they were having issues with blackouts, so she's just offline intermittently. If you can just bear with us, we'll get her back on very soon. Must be a blackout in the Philippines. Please bear with us. We'll be right back after this short break. Sorry, if we can just, yeah, Antonia just advised that there's been a power interruption. I think maybe her internet just went offline. So if you can just bear with us for another minute or two, we'll see if we can get Antonia back on. Thank you. Sorry, we're just having a bit of technical difficulty. We're trying to reconnect Antonia. So I've just resent the invite to her. You can just bear with us. We'll try see if we can get her on again.
I'm back. I'm sorry. Apologies. That's I just encountered a power interruption and it takes a while to turn on the generator and for the internet to come back. But I'm good now. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can, Antonia. You might need to share your screen again. Thank you.
I'm wondering which part was that. I think it's about the partnering, right? Let me just pull up my presentation again. All right, share. Yeah. Have you heard this or did I? Okay, I can start with this presentation, right?
Yes, this slide, if
Okay.
you would mind restarting from the beginning, because we sort of fell off. Thank you.
All right. Okay, so this one. So let me just okay. Right. So this is the third component. The M&E partnership, which involves collaboration with both internal and external stakeholders to support M&E activities. So as mentioned earlier, internal partners may include the project team, the different departments within the organization that supports the team, the senior management, the project participants, while external partners may include the government partners, the donors and funders, NGOs, other implementing partners, also consultants and subject matter experts, and even the community and local stakeholders. So for successful M&E partnering, it is important to identify and agree upon the roles and responsibilities of each partner to clearly articulate expectations regarding data collection, analysis, reporting, and even decision making. It is also important to set up effective communication protocols and determine how information will be shared, how often, and through what channels to maintain a transparent and informed partnerships. Successful partnerships in M&E contribute to more robust and comprehensive M&E processes, leveraging the strengths and resources of all the stakeholders that we have identified. So another component to the M&E system is the organizational M&E work plan that looks at these 5 enumerated areas. So first is the organization should have a manual that defines M&E guidelines, processes, tools, templates, and data management procedures. So this is to ensure that the organization has consistent standards when implementing M&E. And the M&E schedule refers to a clear plan of DME activities for the year that includes the enumeration of the different M&E activities and including a time frame to guide M&E implementation in a coherent, timely, and quality manner. And the third one is the financial resources, the M&E budget that is earmarked and available for conducting planned M&E activities. So the staff cannot just like do things on the ground without that facilitating budgets. Again, based on the organization's M&E plan or the project's M&E plan, DME team members must have clear deliverables that is reflected in the respective performance plan that is monitored by supervisors. Stakeholders also need to have clearly defined roles for supporting the plan. We have been like repeating this information. So ideally, the team conducts progress reviews at least once a year with the participation of the stakeholders to ensure that all parties report on agreed actions and revise and agree on the next steps. See, so Right, so that covers the M&E work plan. So the next component is the M&E plan. So it says that all current interventions have clear and completed M&E plans. So this is the ultimate reference when conducting or implementing M&E activities on the ground. All indicators have clear definitions and means of verification, which are understood in the same way by all relevant staff and partners. Stakeholders and partners are consulted on the M&E plan's key result areas, key success indicators, and how to monitor programs and projects implemented with them to ensure collaboration based on the roles they committed. It is also important that M&E plans of the programs or the projects are reviewed and updated at least once a year as part of reflection. So that's the focus for the M&E plan. The next component is the M&E database. This is the structured system for storing, organizing, and managing data related to the monitoring and evaluation activities of an organization. So database plays a crucial role in collecting, analyzing, and reporting information to assess the performance and impact of projects and their interventions. So these are some of the important features of a database. One is in standardized database, that is the requirement for the storage of data collected, which should have the functionality of retrieving documents when needed. Clear workflow at every level in terms of who is responsible for entering, quality checking, extracting, analyzing, and disseminating data. The quality control mechanisms must also be in place to ensure that data are accurately captured, appropriately stored, and used. So this also includes like procedures for backup. It will be very difficult if you collect all the data and then you lost it in a minute because your system breakdown. So that's part of it, procedures for backup and recovery, and also like the security and the user administration for data that is stored in a computer. So for the seventh component of the M&E system, advocacy and culture for M&E, this involves promoting the importance, the value, and benefits of M&E within the organization and the broader community. So building a culture for M&E involves establishing norms, attitudes, and practices that prioritize and integrate M&E activities into the fabric of the organization. So to the right is an example of how World Vision International as an organization illustrates its culture of reflection and learning by integrating it into its M&E framework we call learning through evaluation, accountability, and planning, in short, LEAP, that encapsulates the important DMA procedures of the organization. So see, if you can notice, it might be too small, but there's a tiny arrow in the middle that goes around the entire cycle from assessment, planning, monitoring, evaluation up to the project closure and transition. So it shows that reflection and learning is consistently practiced, ensuring that action reflection is embedded so that learning can inform adaptive management. Promoting a learning culture as part of M&E contributes to, of course, better decision-making, improve the program outcomes, of course, our accountability, and the overall organizational success. So now let's go back and review the M&E system, because we just completed discussing the 7 components. The referred to the yellow cards is the first layer. that provides the enabling environment. So the next key part of the M&E system are the mechanisms or procedures for which data is collected, which is our third topic actually. As you can see, the second layer, there are 4 procedures or mechanisms for which data are collected. Baseline and evaluation, routine monitoring, outcome monitoring, and data audit and validation visits. So let's start with baseline and evaluation. So baseline is data collection at the beginning of a project. See here at the center is I'm referring to the life cycle as a point of reference. And the life cycle of a project starts with assessment, planning, monitoring, evaluation, and transition or closure. So we're saying that baseline is data collection at the beginning of a project, typically during the project's design phase to establish the indicator benchmark prior to program implementation. While evaluation, on the other hand, is data collection at the end of a project. This is to measure the change after project interventions to provide insights into the effectiveness of project strategies, identifies lessons learned, and informs decision-making for future interventions. So while baseline provides the starting point for tracking changes, evaluations assess the outcomes and impacts over time. So data collected during baselines contribute to the evaluation process because it provides the historical context and helps evaluators understand the changes in the project environment. So when you have your baseline figure as your benchmark and you have your evaluation data, you will be able to assess how much change has happened. The next way of collecting data is routine monitoring. So this is an ongoing and systematic process of collecting, analyzing, and using data on a regular basis to track the progress and performance of projects. So the primary goal of routine monitoring is to ensure that activities are implemented as planned, to identify any deviations or challenges, and to inform timely decision-making for adaptive management. So if done properly, monitoring data is actually an invaluable tool for good management. It provides a useful base for evaluation also. It enables project teams to determine whether the resources available are sufficient and are being well used, whether the capacity they have as a team is sufficient and appropriate to implement and achieve the goals that are set out for the project. Outcome monitoring, on the other hand, is also a type of monitoring, but looking at the intermediate outcomes. So see that it points to the arrow. It's basically towards prior to evaluation, but still part of monitoring. So it tracks any change in the attitudes and practices resulting from interventions. Ideally, programs undertake outcome monitoring annually to check whether the program is progressing towards intended results. While data audit and validation visits are the regular support visits undertaken primarily to validate data accuracy and ensure evidence-based reporting. So this is also needed. So data audit and validation visits also involve verification and cross-checking, where visits by supervisors or M&E officers include sampling and verification of information previously collected, systematic review of collected data to compare values collected across time and location, incorporation of reasonability checks as well, and comparisons into data collection, entry, and processing. So this is just example to double check if the data entered into the system are accurate, or sometimes we have like issues around double entry. So triangulation of findings by asking the same thing in different ways is also like a function of verifying data. So in different contexts, or to different people, such that review of program or files, reports, one-on-one interviews with participants, and direct field observation. So this is part of the field visit to the community, where the visiting officer will observe, or the monitoring officer will observe, or at the national level, visiting the area program location, observes reported community developments, and also talking with project participants to cross-check achievements reported. So yeah, it's also like a way of checking if there are already changes that are happening, for example, as a result to activities. Example, if a training has occurred, and then maybe there are action plan after the training. So validation visit could also include monitoring what are those implementation that's been done on the ground by community participants as part of their learning application. So let us look at this illustration of an M&E process that is grouped into 3 major steps. From design and tools preparation on top, which is done prior to data collection. Second is the data collection and quality assurance, which is done during the course of actual data collection. And third, analysis and visualizations, which are part of data management and utilization. So this is really the steps while you do data collection. So I'm sure everyone is already like familiar with this, but it's just go through it. So step 1, it just says that the M&E focal person prepares the baseline evaluation list of indicators. Yeah, so where does the focal person get this from? Should utilize the M&E plan, which identifies which indicators are for monitoring and for evaluation, or for baseline, or whatever. And then second, the M&E focal person prepares the terms of reference or work plan for data collection. So it is important that the terms of reference defines the objectives for data collection. What is the scope? What are the methods that will be used? Who is the data collection team? What are the activities that needs to be done to implement data collection? And then the timeline, and of course, the budgets. Third step is the M&E focal person develops the data collection methods and instruments, or survey tools. And then step 4, the M&E focal person uploads these instruments into a system. This is applicable for mobile-based data collection. Otherwise, there's a need for production of hard copy survey questionnaires in case mobile-based data collection is not the practice. And jumping to the second group of steps for data collection is the 5th step, which is the training of enumerators and coordinate data collection using mobile phones. Again, if for this example is for mobile phones, but of course, if it also applies if you're not using mobile phones, you're just using like hard copy interview instruments or data collection instruments. So this is just to ensure that data collection team understands the questions and context for which the data is needed for. And then it goes to once the enumerators are already trained, they go to collect and save data in mobile phones or in the hard copy documents. And then the seventh step is the field staff or M&E focal screen or validates saved data. So this is the portion of quality checking into mobile phones and sync up finalized survey forms to the central server. And the eighth step, the M&E focal person extracts collected survey forms for data processing and analysis. So the product of this one is the cleaned data set that the M&E focal persons in the ninth step performs data analysis, visualizations, and production of report for sharing to stakeholders. So this is the summary of the steps that is involved when we do our collection for M&E activities. So the next slide, we go back again to our M&E system. We just completed a discussion of the second layer or the second set of components, the focused on the mechanisms or procedures for data collection, which connects to our final topic today on analyzing collected data for informed decision making, which is the centerpiece and the very purpose of the M&E system, the data use and dissemination. So again, analyzing collected data. This is now our third topic, I think. For informed decision making is part and parcel of data use and dissemination. So there are at least 6 uses of data that is collected. So one is for sharing with donor as an audience, simply because it is part of their expectation as per the contract we signed with them. This is to inform them if the funds they have invested is resulting to the desired impact as intended in the project design. So this information will also determine their decision for further funding of other grants or even continuing their partnership with us. Next is accountability. This refers to the organization's responsibility to inform not only the donors, but also the partners, which could be the communities, the government counterpart. The sharing of results to them will also inform their actions of support and even further collaboration moving forward. So we have list what we call the upward accountability to our donors and downward accountability to our communities, and also sideward accountabilities to our other stakeholders like the government. The third one is the data on progress, achievements, and challenges is also primarily utilized to inform organizational decision-making processes for adaptive management of ongoing projects and or future programming for completed projects. Fourth is data will also inform learning of what went well and what did not for improvement of interventions and approaches moving forward. It will also inform future decision-making for organizational strategy and programming purposes. So available data will provide direction in terms of what to prioritize, what to stop, and what to start and continue as an organization. And even the different M&E practices implemented on the ground, or the, what do we call this? Our strategies as well. And most importantly, data on achievements will also be used to celebrate milestones, impact the positive changes that are happening in the project areas and even within the organization. See, so those are the different uses of data. So when analyzing data for informed decision-making, there is an important process. We sometimes neglect this, a very crucial process we call reflection that enables learning for improvement. So as you can see here, reflection is a process of exploring and examining ourselves, our perspectives, the attributes, the experiences, and the actions and interactions in the course of project implementation. So reflection helps us gain insight and see how to move forward. It helps us to develop our skills and review program effectiveness rather than just carry on doing things as we have always done them. So reflection is about questioning in a positive way what we do and why we do it, and then deciding whether there is a better way or more efficient way of doing things in the future. So reflection is an important process that supports adaptive management, where we reflect along the way to fine-tune our interventions to ensure that we deliver project expectations based on the design. So that's reflection for adaptive management and reflection to enable learning and improvement. So reflection is also a way of assessing progress towards outcomes or goals, identifying challenges. Note here, it should be, when we reflect, it should be based on goals and the objectives and the target we set out at the start. And reflection is also celebrating successes and milestones. We all know that success is not a continuous upward journey. What most people think, but we all know that the more successful a project is, the harder the implementing team has worked to achieve the milestones in a quality and timely manner. So it is very important that incremental achievements are celebrated. So this is the celebrate our achievements as part of reflection. And informing future decision making. So as mentioned in the previous slide, success is not an upward trajectory. It is like the iceberg, where factors of success and or failure needs to be identified, understood, and assimilated into lessons learned to inform management decisions, especially on how to move forward. Like for example, does our program or project models work? Our strategies, did it work? If not, and then what do we do next? So maybe we will, like, with the failure, we also need to do something else. So this is what we can say. What do we need to stop as an organization? What we need to continue, or what we need to start as part of the lessons application when we have our reflection. So in the next slides, I will be sharing an example of how data collected has informed programming decision. So this is the nutrition profile of Timor-Leste, where I worked for a little bit over 6 years. And from 2014 to 2021. So you can see here the different data on anthropometric measurements, including diarrhea and anemia. So just looking at this slide, data shows that in all the areas baseline, results showed that stunting, underweight, wasting, and anemia are way above the critical World Health Organization cutoff that triggers for action. So the cutoff, WHO critical cutoff, the red lines. So based on WHO standards, all indicators showed that malnutrition in Timor-Leste has reached the category of public health hazard, where almost half of children are stunted, 40% are underweight, and 20% are wasted, mirroring the national data. That's is that the brown column there from the 2016 Timor-Leste Health and Demographic Survey commissioned by the Ministry of Health. So this one is part of the baseline we did in 2017. Sample size of 1,812 children under 5. So this is also part of the baseline data we collected. Results on food consumption of children under 5 also showed that malnutrition correlates with the very low diet diversity. So there's only like an average of 2 food groups. A typical Timorese diet is composed of 90% carbohydrate-based staple food and a little vegetable, and very little protein like eggs, meat, and fish, and beans and legumes, which we all know that is necessary to have a balanced diet and good nutrition. So armed with those information on the status of malnutrition and its major cause, among a lot of other factors, of course, the project design team developed Better Food, Better Health, which is a nutrition-sensitive agriculture project, the food-based solution to the issue. So with protein consumption being very low, the project intentionally identified crops of high protein value, including one animal source protein, which is the chicken eggs, we called superfoods. As part of the study, it was also known that these superfoods are already grown and eaten, but not just eaten enough or grown enough. So we also know that what the households produce, they eat. So the project design was two-pronged, where on the left side of this theory of change or pathway of change, or project theory, the households increase consumption and demand for superfoods, while on the right side of the project theory of change, farming households increase their production and supply of superfoods, such that outcome 1 intends to improve the health-seeking behavior that includes superfood consumption. Outcome 2 aims at increasing their access to superfoods. Outcome 3 is focused on producing superfoods, and outcome 4 is focused on putting sustainability mechanisms in place that includes the parents clubs or the PSFs or health volunteers, the farmers groups, food processing groups, business sector, and the government counterparts for advocacy and learning. So this is an application of data use. So after 2 years, again, we went back after 2 years of Better Food, Better Health implementation. So we conducted a midterm review, and the results showed a dramatic improvement in diet diversity from 2.1 to 4.7 compared to baseline. So this result again showed that the strategy of producing and promoting consumption of superfoods was effective in increasing targeted children's diet diversity. So this data evidence was also used by donors and even the implementing team as basis for the project scale up in different locations. So here are a summary of benefits of data-driven decision making. So we say that when we use or when our decisions are data-driven, we gain valuable insights. We have continual growth as an organization. We'll have improved program outcomes, optimized operations. We can predict future trends, and also we have actionable insights. I think this is my last slide. So in conclusion, M&E systems and functions is not only about the M&E plan and M&E staffs. It covers many elements of the organization, from the goal, the strategies, the standards, and even staff capacities to deliver the M&E expectations of the organization. So monitoring and evaluation systems are not just tools for assessing, for assessing past performance. They are the engines that drive continuous improvement. M&E systems are not merely bureaucratic necessities, they are the compass guiding us towards our goals. And the overall purpose for M&E is using data for decision making. So thank you. Before I hand over to Rosalia to manage the Q&A, again, I would like to point out that this is where I will encourage everyone to pitch in and share their experiences in response to if there are follow-up questions. So it will be also good to hear others' insights based on their experiences. So, right, Rosalia.
Thank you, Antonia. Thank you so much. I'm just allowing unmuting everyone. So please feel free to maybe introduce yourself, your name, your title, and then maybe ask your question if you have any. So we'll leave it open to the floor if anybody would like to ask a question based on Antonia's presentation. Wonderful, succinct, very I think I understand what M&E does now properly. Presentation. Please do. Floor is open. Thank you.
Seems everyone is shy. I think it just means two things. Oh, here. Right. Yes, Tony, you raised your hand. Please ask your question away.
Can you hear Tony?
No, I can't hear Tony. I'm not sure. Why is that?
Okay, good afternoon.
Hi,
Good
Tony.
afternoon,
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Boss Mary and Rosalia and everyone. I'm Tony Alpan, the MNE coordinator for Health and Gender. And I only have one question to ask. But before that, I would like to take this opportunity to thank our leader, Rosalia, for organizing this webinar and keep on upskilling us with relevant skills and the knowledge. And also thank you to our boss Mary, Antonia, for the time that you have given us for this session. Yes, thank you, Tro. So my question is only regarding the data audit. I saw the data audit part was very interesting to me while I was hearing the session, and I'm only asking if there are data audit tools, is there available tools that we can use for data auditing purposes that are available to the national office or support office? Currently, I don't have one, so I'm asking is there possibility of sharing this data audit tool? Thank you.
All right. Yeah. Thank you, Tony, for asking that. So you're requesting me to share some data audit tools, but basically, yeah, I can maybe like pull up some of that, and share it with you. But again, the team can also like refer back, because when you say data audit, it's just going back to our standards in terms of like, for example, data management. So that could be one area. It will be like cross-checking data, if like, for example, are the data that's submitted to the national office are accurate. So you need to use your reports from the field. You can like validate that. So those are some, but in terms of maybe specific steps, yes, I'll just say that I might share that. I will share that to you in the future. Thanks, Tony.
Thank you, Boss Mary Antonia. That answered my question. Thank you. Hopefully, I can receive it earlier.
Right. Okay.
Thank you, Tony, and thank you, Antonia. I think Ronald had his hand up. So, Ronald, do you want to ask a question?
Yes. Afternoon, Rosalia and Antonia.
Afternoon, Ronald.
Okay. My question is, first of all, thank you for the, it's quite a long time that we worked, that I worked with Well Vision. We haven't had such an opportunity to, come together as many officers and discuss and share ideas on the many monitoring and evaluation. Yeah, and thank you for this opportunity. Okay, my question is not really a question, but just suggesting some ideas here to, and around throw of ideas to see how we can monitor, especially on the following the process of many work. Currently, as a project or program area based officer, we used to work like in isolation from the national office, from the PQ. So what I'm suggesting for us, like what Tony has mentioned on something on tools, and then I was trying to think along that line and to, to build the to digitize the M&E system, the steps involved and all the steps involved in M&E systems and process. I was suggesting if we could come up with something for the PNG Well Vision to digitize the M&E system. And coming back to Rosalia and Antonia, what be your thought on this, to have the central database and all that stuff for all the projects that Well Vision has in PNG?
Oh, thank you, Ronald, for that suggestion. I think Tony here is part of the PQ team at the national office. Maybe Tony, you can respond in terms of the status on your plans to digitize the M&E system, because I know that there are this is one area that actually we're working on, particularly strengthening the M&E systems with the PNG team. And but again, it cannot like take overnight for this to happen. So we're like building increment steps towards that. But Tony might have like, some insights as to when is that going to happen. Tony, would you like to respond? Thank you, Ronald. That's a very good suggestion. That's also one of the recommendations I came up with when I last visited the PNG team.
Thank you, Rosemary. Regarding that, Ronald, it's an
Yes.
ongoing issue that was identified during our LNR, and On FY24, we are planning to pull things together and improve on the system. So we have come up with our DME business plan and it's underway and maybe 20 FY24 we will be starting in our implementation to roll out or strengthening the system. Yes.
Thank you, Tony.
Thank you, Ronald.
Okay, thank you. I'm just weary of time because we're booked Zoom for 1.5 hours. So Stan, would you like to go ahead with your question? And we'll see if we can take yours as well, Johnny.
Thank you, Boss Mary Rosalia. Thank you, Antonia, for your wonderful presentation. I'm Stanley, Social Accountability Coordinator in Daru. I just have a question regarding the baseline survey. Since presentation from Antonia, you went through the process after the baseline survey, the MNE officers and the enumerators, the system that we currently use in the 2001 resilience program and the current one in the middle flight that is currently ongoing. We're using the M-Water platform to enter all the data collected. Just a question, is it the only M-Water platform that we're using or there are systems apart from the M-Water? Thank you.
Thank you, Stanley. And not sure really in terms of if there are other systems that you need to use, maybe that can be discussed within the team and in consultation with the PQ team for some guidance. But again, whatever system that we will be using, just to ensure that it serves what we need. So so you were asking about the system. If the M-Water system already works for you, and so that should be fine. So what is important is that it will enable us to, monitor and evaluate the program that we're implementing or the project that we are implementing. So basically, analysis can only, what is important is really like the set of indicators that you already know what are the key information that's needed to be able to analyze your indicators. And of course, when you have a complete or a concrete M&E plan that's also set up within your system, I think that should be okay. Yeah, I hope that answers the question. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you.
Hi, Antonia. This is Johnny, Program Support Services Lead. Thank you very much for very informative presentation. Very useful. It made us to think about M&E in a different perspective, especially for myself, whose role is not directly related to M&E. What really impressed me was the point on success is an iceberg illusion. I thought we went a bit too quickly over that one. So, I mean, we don't have the time to go over it, but I thought if you could speak a bit on that one. Success is an iceberg illusion. Thank you.
Sorry, I was muted. Thank you, Johnny, for raising that one. So it's just saying that, let me pull up the iceberg. Do we still have like the time?
We can see if Zoom will give it to us. Please continue, Antonia. Let's see how long they give us.
Okay. Right. Let me look at this, because this is what so this is the iceberg. So when we say inform future decision making as a function of analyzing collected data for informed decision making, so the iceberg illusion, actually, see, the previous slide is saying that success is just like an upward trend. This is what people think.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
it looks
yes.
like, but actually success is a lot of twists and turns and pains and sacrifices
That's right. That's
and
right.
and challenges. I'm sure
Mhm,
the team is already experiencing that.
mhm.
So when we say to inform our, decision moving forward, we need to also assess and reflect what are the factors to the success.
That's right.
Uh, because there are a lot of things that people do not see.
Mhm.
The dedication of the staff as a factor, the hard work that's put into it, the discipline,
That,
timeliness. Otherwise, these are also like issues.
that's very true.
These staffs implementing in the field, if they're not supported or if they fail, they are disappointed, and that will, they will lose value, or they will lose sense of, moving forward, and then they might be required to sacrifice, and there's also a lot of failures that are encountered along the way. So this information are really important to be understood, to inform the decision
Mhm.
making, particularly with the management. So it might be good to see, though this is what success looks like, what are those things that we need to maybe stop doing if there are things that are failing as well. So stop doing. What are the good practices? For example, what are the lessons learned that we need to utilize as we move forward? So I think these are the key things that we need to look at when we do our reflection to inform decision making. Because sometimes when we are in the field and the decisions are, made at the national level, for example, say for a specific project that's implemented, the staffs are only like, the implementing staff are only hired when the project is being implemented. So there is, a lack of engagement during the design phase. So maybe in the implementation, they will encounter a lot of challenges because the design doesn't really fit with the context. So that's also part of, understanding what are those things that needs to change for adaptive management. So that basically is the essence of, teams doing reflection to inform how we move forward in our programming, and that informs our future decisions as well.
Thank you.
I
Thank
hope
you so
that
much,
responds
Antonia.
to
And,
all
and
your
this is the first
questions.
time I had a read, so I was, it was kind of interesting to me. So I asked for you to go over it again, but thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Johnny. It's my pleasure.
Thanks, Johnny, for that question. I think we've got a hand up from Ronald. Ronald, do you want to ask a question? And Zoom's permitting us a little more time.
Okay, thank you, Rosalia. Just a bit on data validation, especially when collecting data on in the field and to report back to donors and partners. I'm a bit interested on this data triangulation. The first question is, what are the tools or the steps involved in, what are some of the tools or the steps involved in data triangulation to have the data, validated and clean?
Okay. Yeah, I think really this is interesting. The data audits as a whole topic, and I might not have enough time to discuss this. So I'm like thinking that this will be one of the areas that we will have, like, a separate session just to talk about this. But just the specific steps in data triangulation, as what was shown here. Let me see. There are three things. See, one step could be, you have your program reports, right? So it says that 100 people have participated in training, for example. So when you go do the field validation or your verification and cross-checking through data audit, you go there, you go to the area program, for example, and then you look at the hard document, the source document to validate if the number of participants reported to have participated in the training is accurate. So you count what is the source of document that you need to look at. You look at the attendance sheet. So it enumerates all the names of the participants. So you count if the report is accurate. I'll use the World Vision terminology because we're using like the indicator tracking tables, for example. So that could be one. You go to the source of the data and you validate if there is accuracy in the reflection of data. So check for double entries, for example. So when you part of that validation, you can also triangulate if, like, for example, you sample which participants, which communities to visit and talk to them, talk to those participants, interview them. What happened during the training? What did you learn? And then you observe what are the improvements that are happening. For example, if the report says there is an established nursery, and you go visit that nursery just to validate, you see, not just like believing the report that's been submitted. So that's the function of data audit and validation visits. So I hope that's like triangulation already. But again, we might have a separate session just to talk about data audit and validation visits, because these are some of the concrete areas of action that we might be missing as we implement, which is very crucial actually, because sometimes when we submit reports to donors, there's a lot of discrepancy, and I think this is a crucial step to ensure that we report accurate data or information. Hope that answers the question. Ronald?
Thank you.
Okay. So thank you very much. Just looking at time, I'm sorry to have kept you over, but we did have some technical difficulties, so it's all good. I think just one big thing for me was I really like the success illustration on the iceberg. Everybody sees just the top piece of what success looks like. And exactly. Antonia mentioned looking upwards, outwards, and inwards. And I think that's very, very key to M&E, and would love to invite you back for a second one.
My pleasure.
Antonia, if you're available. But thank you to everybody for joining us. Here we will take our leave. This recording will be available on our YouTube channel under the podcast. I will share the link to all after this. But thank you very much, Antonia, for your time. And we will most certainly see you back in the webinar series.
All right. Thank you, Rosalia. Thank you, everyone. Bye for now.
Thank you and bye.
Thank you, everyone, and have a lovely afternoon.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you.